to Planning Phase Syndicate. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight for episode 36. 36, y'all. That's crazy. Tonight's episode is called The Resurrection of Our Warrior. Past is about to begin. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the new Mandalore pack that got leaked a little bit on Reddit. We're going to go through that, all the spoilers for it. We're also going to be talking a little bit about the spoilers from the Razor Crest that we got to see that is going to try to put more droids inside of Scum. We also have a special segment we're going to do towards the end, kind of a what-if segment. So stay tuned for that, because that will be something new that we are trying out. Without further ado, let me bring my co-host in for the night. Welcome to the show, JJ. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm still riding high on that game that we streamed earlier today. Man, that was a hell of a game. My apologies to everybody. Sorry I couldn't figure out the audio issue that I was having. My mic decided to die right before the stream started, and I could not figure out for the life of me how to get it back in. So thank you for your patience, but we definitely enjoyed that game. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I got to play Scum, which I don't play very often. Especially Boba. I almost never play Boba, so yeah, it was kind of different. I don't know how your week was, JJ, but so far my week was very busy, filled with lots of work. Been working more hours than before, and prepping for LVO. I bet you I have played more games of X-Wing in January than I normally so.
Yeah. So for me, I unfortunately had been sick this last weekend, or the week before. My daughter had found out that that there were a few reported cases of COVID in her class. She came home one of the days, and on the following day, she came up with a fever, and she was down, and we took care of her. And unfortunately, she passed it on to the rest of us. And after our stream last week, I came down really hard to the point where it was just very difficult to breathe. It was really tough. It's probably like one of the second worst I've ever felt ever, and man, it just sucks to go through that stuff. So I'm just glad that I'm over it now and I'm actually able to talk. So yeah, it was rough.
Ugh. No, not a good deal, my friend.
I know.
Well, you excited about the new Mandalore pack?
Oh,
I mean,
my gosh,
they spoiled it, and now we have a lot more information than we had before, which I don't know if it's good or bad, right? You know, like, it's
good because you get to theory craft. It's bad because now it's like there's no surprises left, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, because like we don't have any of that. Like, now it's just us now. You know, what are we gonna talk about? They're gonna release something. We're gonna be like, so what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So so before we get into the into like all the review cards and stuff like that, just to go back on week 2 so far for our trilogy tournament. So earlier today you had you were able to sub in for Charles, who was supposed to play today, and Charles is out today due to some family emergency that's going through, but hopefully all is well. But what did you think of his list so far? I know that was your first time ever running that type of double fire spray list. What were your thoughts on that list?
So I still like stealth device, though I understand why people don't, because the first time somebody shot Boba, I rolled 4 green blanks.
Yeah, I remember.
And I took 3 hits. Like,
oh my gosh.
With a focus. I even had a focus too. It didn't matter. And so I lost 4 damage, and then the focus. So I could understand why folks don't care for it, right? And why maybe we would do something a little different. It's so I get that. I do not care for seismics on Boba at all. I don't know if I want proxies, but I probably would put protons on him. And I also like Han Gunner to some extent a little bit more than
for the guaranteed token.
Yeah, because you get, yes, it forces, so the difference is it forces your Boba to play a certain way, I guess, right? So it would force me to play in a different manner, whereas I took Boba and tried to bait him after he took the 4 damage and say, fine, come get me. Eamon's going to come in here and flank you and get shots. And then so I forced him to change up all of his strategy and split his fire.
Yeah.
Which worked out well. If I had Han Gunner, I probably would have stayed a little bit closer. But he had that stupid strain thing from those Fearless. I forgot all about that. And those suck. So I'm not a big fan of the smaller Slave 1 title, and I'm not a fan of the skilled bombardier with seismics. Seismics are pretty easy to avoid when you have stuff that can barrel roll and boost away from rocks.
Yeah.
Protons would have been a lot better because it would have forced him to stay at range a little farther away.
Yeah.
Same with proxies. You could say the same thing with proxies or with thermals. In any of those. So I would have ran the seismics on Eamon over Boba if I was going to run seismics.
Yeah, because you can curve it more and put it in a spot where you wanted to like detonate one of those rocks there. One of the plays of the game that I saw when I was commentating was there was a turn where you were running away with Boba and Eamon was coming in on the flank, and there was an opportunity for them to come in and then just jam up Eamon so that way he couldn't get away. And you dropped a proxy mine to then trigger Cad Bane for the boost, and that was just money, and you ended up blocking his tri-fighter and ending up getting away and getting a kill later on. That was definitely one of the highlights of that game.
Well, the funny thing is, because Paul and I were talking, and I was like, you're playing CIS, and I like CIS more than I like Scum. That's typically what it is. And then the first time I was going to drop a bomb with a proton. He goes, "Are you going to use Cad Bane?" I was like, "Oh, I forgot about Cad Bane." So then I remembered. I was like, "You know what? I guarantee you, when he's going to try to come in and block Eamon, so he could take Eamon off the board in one shot."
Yeah,
that was I guarantee, because if you could, because I didn't know how to get past him without those seismics, because those seismics on Eamon make things so much more scary, because I could 3 hard that seismic and blow a rock up that one of his droids is next. And like if I had seismics on him, all those ships would have taken damage the turn they turned in.
Yeah, exactly.
So I did not like losing my proxy mine, but I had a feeling that if he didn't block me or had blocked me, I have a dead Eamon and I'm not getting any of them off. And it forces him to stay, like, he can't just go around that rock to get to Boba. So he couldn't just try to outflank Boba faster, because those droid interceptors are really fast little ships. Yeah, they really are.
Especially with that boost into calculate, that makes them really offensive. Yeah, definitely.
So, I think Cad Bane's money, 100%. I love Cad Bane, and for the price point, because Cad's a pretty cheap token. Yeah. I know people don't like him, but I think if you're going to run double bonds on Eamon, Cad Bane is probably really good money. Especially because you don't have to clear the stress if you don't want to, but it just makes it easier, you're going to do your one maneuvers most of the time anyway to try to keep time on target. And I set it up. I was lucky I didn't hit that other rock though, because I was not planning on the bank boost. And then when I saw all his ships, I was like, shit, he got first player. I was going to do a 4 straight right over everything. And then I dialed it back to the 3 straight. That way I could get my, stupid little token. And I was like, you know what? I know what he's going to do. He's going to get first player and Grievous is going to come in. So I'm still going to leave the 3 straight. And then when we roll, it'll make a determination. If I'm first player, I'm boosting straight. If I'm second player, I'm boosting left and hope I don't hit that other rock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was great. And then the other play of the game was you turning in at that critical moment to go hit face to face with Grievous towards the end there, and then just punching in those 4 damage to get him past half points to take the lead. Man, that was such a clutch play right there for your Boba.
Oh, Fearless is so amazing on Boba when you come in. Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't like to joust with fire sprays, obviously, because that's not my thing, but I probably just should have done it because that Fearless came into play twice
Yeah.
during that whole game. And for the 3 points that it's worth, that's 100% on Boba. That's money, just money, money, money. And that Fearless would have came into play a lot more if I hadn't lost Force Shields right away, because I
Yeah.
had to then start running away. Otherwise, I would have actually taken my Boba up and gone to the top right of there, and then flew around that rock to try to catch Grievous off guard.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. Well, for my game, I ended up playing against a resistance list. It was against Blair Gray. He had a list with Poe Dameron, the Heralds of Hope version. He had a generic Red Squadron veteran. He had Kazuda Ziono, and he also had Just Pava in the T-70 X-Wing. It was a fantastic game. He's a great player, Class A player. He was really fun to play with. We played it yesterday, last night. It was kind of an impromptu game, so we weren't able to stream it, but I was able to use my sensor buoys to great effect. Just like Greg says, everybody hates those sensor buoys. It took 4 shots and it still didn't go down. And because he was unable to kill my sensor buoy that was right in the center of the board, it gave 5 target locks to Tabson total throughout the game, which he used to generate about, I would say, 11 to 12 crit results from rerolls onto his ships, and it just decimated his squad. Blackout did not blank out at all, thankfully. He actually did a lot of work. He actually managed to get behind the formation and punish Poe and Kazuda, and just do a lot of work for me that turn. And I actually was able to use his ability twice to do some serious damage there. I ended up winning the game about 200 to 66 points, I believe. And it was a great game. It was definitely a solid win for us. So those 2 wins will give us the win for this round for week 2, and we'll end up starting the pairings probably after LVO for week number 3 for our team here. John still hasn't played his game, but he'll end up doing that probably later on in the week. And it is inconsequential, but at least I'll be happy to see like how he does, to see if we do like a clean sweep of Cerebra's voice this week. So
yeah. Does MOV? So I didn't know if MOV mattered, right? That's the only reason we ended for my game the last shot, because the probability of him getting Boba, and it was funny because he's like, you want to know what the point score is, and I was like, I don't know what it is. I assume that you were very close, and he was like, yeah, you're ahead by 8 points or 6 points, and I was like, oh, well, I should probably just run away then. And then that's when I decided I was like, I know what Grievous is going to do, because Grievous has to have time on target. So Grievous is going to do a sloop, one of the 2 ways. 50% probability he's going to the right, because if he goes to the left, it's very close to that rock. So it's like, I'm just going to turn my Boba the other way. And then he did the sloop, and then I was like, oh shit, I could just boost and get out of Grievous's arc, because I thought it would go farther, and it didn't. But anyway, so I didn't know what MOV, if that mattered.
Probably for any ties, but it just
okay,
because there's a possibility for 2 teams to go 2-1. So yeah, it just depends. So
okay,
yeah,
because I didn't know if it was like when with the crates, it was more the game wins, not the point. So like if your team went 3-0 for the week, it was better than a 2-1.
Yeah, so we're in pods right now of four teams. So we have to play each team once inside of the pod. So that's 3 games for each team. So there is a possibility that 2 teams go end up going 2-1, and at that point, in order to break the tie, I believe MOB would make that decision. I had to double check with Nabi again, but I believe that's how that would be done. So.
Okay. All right. Well, if Charles is still off, it'll be me. Hopefully, it won't be till after LVO.
Yeah, definitely. I won't be planning any matches until after LVO is done. Yeah, definitely.
Because I will not have much free time this week.
Oh yeah.
So speaking, just real quick before we go into spoilers, because I want to do spoilers, and I have no idea how long it's going to take to get through all of them. But the just an announcement on Wednesday, we are not going to do our regular stream as I need to spend time with my family and get packed and prepped to go to LVO. And then next Sunday, as of now, we are not doing a stream. We may do an impromptu stream Sunday night, but probably not. I don't know yet. If we do, it's going to sound like poop. It's literally going to be like me and John on a microphone, like headsets or whatever. So I don't know if we're going to or not. It's going to kind of depend what happens with Charles and his family, if he's there, and then kind of depend on what John and I are doing Sunday. So, because we did pick up the extra tournament. So if we don't make top cut, we are in whatever that other tournament is. So
live from a casino, it's Playing Face Syndicate.
well, it might be. It would be in our hotel room. So, I mean, because technically, I think what I could do is connect. We could each get on our phones with our own headsets and connect through the Ninja and still stream it. Because I probably will still bring my laptop. I'm thinking of taking a different backpack and bringing my laptop, just so I have it. But, I don't know. Anyway, so with that being said, so no Wednesday stream this week and 30% into Sunday. But we might, if we don't, we might stream instead of games next week, Wednesday. Next week, Wednesday, instead of the games, we might do a podcast. I got to talk to Charles though, because I have not had that conversation with him yet. But instead of streaming games, we might be, especially if they have new spoilers that we haven't covered, we actually might do that. So we'll see. All right. You ready to get into some spoilers, JJ?
Let's do it, man. We got a lot to cover today. Yep.
All right. So we're going to go through the official AMG spoilers first. Just because I want to go through those, because those are the new ones that we know 100% are for sure and are legal to talk about. I guess technically, what are they going to do? Sue us? I guess that would be good if they listen to our podcast. That would be kind of cool.
Stop talking about the stuff that we're not ready to spoil yet.
It'll be interesting to see if GSP covers any of it next week or this week, because technically they had to sign NDAs and all sorts of stuff. So I do kind of wonder what if Dion's going to be allowed to do that.
Probably be okay.
All right. So the first one we have Scum Crew IG-11. JJ, you want to run it down?
Yes, so this is a Scum Crew, and it says setup, equip this side face up. Before you will be dealt a face up damage card, you must place one fuse marker on this card and gain one calculate token instead. Then, if there are two fuse markers on this card, flip it, which leads to the other side of the card, which is IG-11 Anti-Capture Protocol. During the end phase, remove one fuse marker from this card. Then, if this card has no fuse markers on it, you are destroyed, and each other ship at range 0 to 1 suffers 1 critical damage. As an action, you can place one fuse marker on this card. So this is a very interesting crew. We've actually saw this. We saw this card being used on the AMG stream a few weeks ago. When they were going through some of the proposed changes for the game. This is what actually caused, I believe, his Boba Fett to blow up in the middle of the game during the objectives matches, and they verbally gave us the breakdown of this card and how it works. It is a very interesting card, I think. This definitely has to be cheap because you're only getting that one calculate token per critical result that you're doing, so to a maximum of 2, because you only get 2 fuse markers before you flip it, and then you have to spend the rest of the time either taking an action to put more fuse charges on this on the flip side before you are destroyed. For this, I would love to put this on a cheap ship, probably like a tugboat equipped with Deadman switch, so that way when it does blow, that's a crit and a regular damage that goes through on exploding. And if you can use the tugboat's ability to tractor somebody into a spot where they're going to bump and be in range of this would be an absolutely great card to have on that ship, especially if this is cheap. I would say this card should be maybe 3 to 4 points.
Yeah, see, I don't like this card as much as everybody else does, I guess. Like,
Yeah, it has to be
so,
cheap.
I mean, like, on anything that has a large amount of hull, I hate it. Because like, unless there's going to be a way to put fuse tokens coming forth on these cards, like, this is just going to blow up, right? So, like, this gives you 2 extra damage, right? Essentially, it allows you to get 2 extra damage and you get free calculates. Not bad. But then you got 2 churns. So, like, can you put crew on the autopilot drone? Can you
can. Yeah, you
oh
can
my
put
god.
crew on it, but it doesn't it can't carry any illicits. So I mean,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
you can do it, but yeah, no illicits. Because I thought, man, autopilot drone with this would be freaking amazing. Like yeah.
3 bombs in one. Oh man. Yeah, that's like that's a mini, that's literally like a mini like proxy mine that runs around and chases you, you know.
Ooh, Deslan, that's actually a very good point. I actually have not thought about using Kylo to kill ships without doing without actually doing damage without showing the dark side. That's actually an interesting interaction. Huh.
No, and we haven't talked about that yet, because I think that's the other issue this one has is, I guess it forces you to want to go after whatever ship this droid is on, right? Like, I mean, it forces you to want to do, because you don't want to leave this ship on the board because it's going to do a crit. Unless it's nowhere near you, then who cares? You know? I don't know. I guess you could take the action to keep yourself from blowing up, right? But that just seems bad. Like, maybe if you put this on with Han Gunner, right? So your action is place a fuse marker on, and then Han Gunner says, "Oh, I'm going to take the stress for the focus before, at the end of system phase," right? Yeah, I don't know. Like,
you see, that's the hard thing about this card too, is that the only benefit you get is from the face up side, which allows you to place a fuse marker to gain 1 calculate, but you're only going to get 2 calculates total out of this. So to put on a ship that has damage hull, I would rather just put this on a smaller ship that doesn't cost as much, just so you can just take advantage of those 2 calculates whenever it's needed. And that's why I think that the quad jumper is the ship for this particular card, because when it is cheap, you're talking about 26 points, and it's going to be tractoring most of the time, which means that it's not going to get any tokens. And at a lower initiative, if it does get shot, it now gains a calculate token that allows it to now spend it on offense. So I think that the lower initiative ships that are cheap will benefit the most from this card because of that.
yeah, I guess I'm not sold on it, just because even on those things are 2 agility, right? 5 hull, 2 agility. So once you start taking damage, you're immediately getting your calculate tokens. The chances of one of those living 4 turns is pretty slim, though, right? If they're in fire, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. So, like, I don't even know if you're going to get this protocol thing off.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it and that's the other thing, right? Is that you have to suffer the crits in order for you to put the fuse markers on it. So there could be a chance that you actually don't suffer any crits at all. You just take pure damage, like regular damage. So there is that. So I think that because there's just so much that has to go right for that card, I think it has to be cheap in order for it to be playable. So yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah. And Twitchy, that's what we were saying, is with Dead Man Switch, this does work. Like, it to some extent. It's only during the end phase, though. So if you destroy it in I3, it's gone, and it will not trigger. Just Dead Man Switch triggers. This should not, because if the ship's not on the board, so your ship has to be able to live long enough to be able to trigger it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to make it all the way to the end phase after everybody's already shot, and then at that point, that's when the card requires you to check to see if there's any remaining fuses, and if there's not, then that's when it detonates, and then at that point, the first part would trigger first, I believe, the crits, and then the dead man switch damage would trigger after that.
So I have a question. We're gonna pull this up because I want to do that. We're gonna pull up. I want to know not about that guy. What is it? Who's the guy that can hold the Skurg bomber, right? So Nim says before a friendly bomber mine. Never mind.
Yeah, before a friendly bomber mine. Yeah.
So that sucks because that means you can't use that together. Because I was thinking if you could be able to somehow hold, those on there. Well, how about this? What does Gleb say? So
let's take a look.
What type of a token is a fuse?
So think of the delayed fuses, like the little circle white and black tokens.
I know, but what is it considered?
I think it's just a token.
Oh, okay. So Gamet Key, it's not Gleb. Gamet Key says at the start of the end phase, you may spend 2 energy to choose a ship at 0 to 1 with 1 or more circular tokens. That circular token is not removed from that ship.
I gotta see if the fuse token would count as a circular token. Hang on.
All right, we're gonna Google it.
Yeah.
Fuse token at Z-Wing. Because I want to know, because if it is considered, they just call it a marker. So we're going to probably have to go to the, whatchamacallit. Does AMG have the rules up there?
Yeah, they should. That's actually why I'm pulling that first.
Because understanding if that works, I mean, that would be the only thing. Yeah, Nim doesn't work. There's no way Nim works. I was incorrect. I was kind of wondering because I don't play again. Yeah. I don't play Nim, so
yeah, it's a hexagon. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, no, sadly that wouldn't work. Yeah. And
okay.
The only other thing I was thinking of is Cutthroat, but that only does
charges.
So yeah.
Yep.
So yeah,
okay.
No, there's no way to delay that outside of the action on the flip side of that card. That's it.
Okay, so that's good and bad. It's good because Scum doesn't need any more gibberish. It's bad only because they're, like them having, if you would really want that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. Q09 or Q9-0. This is a I-5 for the Razor Crest. After you fully execute an advanced maneuver, you may perform a calculate or barrel roll action even while stressed. If you do, gain 1 strain token. Seems pretty good, actually. Like that seems decent. I wouldn't say that's better than Mando, but that seems pretty decent.
Yeah, I think that this is a fantastic card, mainly because the calculate and the barrel action that's on this card is treated as white because it does not specifically state it as a red maneuver or a red barrel or a red calculate, similar to like Vizier in the Empire that allows him to perform a coordinate action after he does the ailerons maneuver. So this does give him that ability to still execute that advanced maneuver like a K-turn and get that free modification or barrel action. Now, this will actually work well with IG-88 crew that allows you to get double calculates. So you can actually still get 2 calculates off of this if you have it as a crew on this particular ship here. So that's actually pretty solid there.
Yeah, I don't think this is earth-shattering personally, but no. I do like it. I think this is pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a fun, neat little mechanic. And again, everything always depends on price, blah, 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 blah. But to some extent, if this is not an overpriced, this is a good pairing for those IG ships, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Especially they haven't revealed the slots for it, but if this comes with like a cannon slot, pairing this with IG-88B, getting that double tap with on this chassis, it will be really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so not much to this one. I do like this personally. And that is one of them I want to try. They did give us, for whatever reason, they're giving us a dial again. I
Just
will
so we
tell
can
you,
compare. Yeah.
this is a bad dial. like this is a horrible, like clear stress dial.
Yeah, it's like the FO bomber, right? Exactly like
Yeah.
that.
I don't think this becomes unplayable because of it. But so I have a question: is a hard stop a an advanced maneuver technically because it's red?
I want to say yes. I'll have to actually go back to the RRG for that to see if that would count as an advanced maneuver. But I know that the Talon rolls and the K-turns are advanced maneuvers.
If that's the case, this becomes more, that card goes up in stock. How about that? Like it goes up in stock if that's the case.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely makes it a lot better. Now, Twitchy mentioned having the L337 crew as a good option for this, which after you flip it to the other side, it does reduce the bank maneuvers for the ship. I would prefer to put L337 on Mando because I want to try to use Zero's ability as much as possible for this, but that's not a bad option because ideally I would want to have double calculate on Q9 for offense/defense rather than get the better, more defensive, I would say, ability for it.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, hold on. I'm going to challenge that slightly, only because you're getting a strain, which is reducing your agility down to 1. A double calculate doesn't do a ton on defense. On offense, you're right, it does. But on defense, it I mean, well, yeah, it will trigger, but not.
To clarify, right? You're even if you're not using his ability, having the double calculates with 2 agility is still pretty good because you have that possibility of just modifying one of those dice, right? So having just that single calculate on 2 dice normally is pretty good. So overall, I think that the double calculate is good that way. So yeah.
I don't see it as much on the defense. Yeah, I see it more if you're not straining yourself. Now, we saw something that can get rid of strain, these different things. Like now you're getting into like a lot of more scumminess. So if you could start getting rid of the strain, this becomes insanely powerful then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I will say I would want to try L337 100%. Like I would want to see if that would be better than the double calculate. I don't know. We don't know how long these ships actually live, right?
Do you think that the Mando ship will have 1 or 2 crew?
In my opinion, it should have 2 crew, but I'm skeptical of that.
If it does have both, just run both IG and L3.
Yeah, I'm skeptical it's going to get 2 crew, but really, like if we want to talk about like how it fits in the show, you can run multiple crew, but I guess you can run multiple crew in Boba's ship, and he has nothing. So,
oh yeah, true. Good point. Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't know. I like so far out of the pilots I've seen. Even in the other pack, other than Fenn, like I really like this. Like this is this is one I definitely will be putting on the board, for it. So why don't we? Let's see here. I want to go real quick, and we're going to see if the Mando ship. So I heard a rumor from a little rumor bird from somebody that works at a game store that said the Gauntlet is now delayed, or they were incorrect in the original date. Did you hear anything about that at all?
Yeah, same thing, just rumors. Nothing official as of yet from AMG, but I mean, it does make sense. There's been a lot of delays logistically for a lot of other things other than games. due to the rise of COVID here in the States and across the world, specifically like the new variants that are out. So it doesn't surprise me that there is a delay, but it just hasn't been anything as of yet for officially from AMG just stating the delay for it. So
Yeah, so the Forces of Mandalore pack still shows here with the 22nd. You can still order it. Do you think we'll be able to? I wish I had the name. Do you think it's called the ST-70 or do you think it's going to be called the Razor Crest?
it's the ST-70 assault ship, at least according to the card.
All right. Because now my question becomes is if they're going to delay that ship too. How about this? I know my local store has already told me that they have put an order in for this pack. Yay. I hate their site so much.
Yeah, it's not the best well done. Yeah, no.
All right, so we're gonna skip that, and I will dump that down here, and we will just keep moving on.
Yep.
And I will see how long it takes to find that, and then I will update you guys in a few minutes. All right, so now we're on to the Pride of Mandalore pack. I am very, very excited for this, even more than I was earlier this month. We have so many cool things that are coming up. So JJ threw together some of the images, blew them up a little bit for us. So why don't we go through them?
Yeah, so this first one here was from one that was spoiled from Games Bandit out of Australia. They're the ones that I believe received a pack of this from a store, and they opened it up and revealed the cards that came in. And the first one here is going to be a Gunner card, Ursa Wren for Republic or Separatists only. It reads: after you acquire lock onto an enemy ship beyond range 2, if there are no friendly units at range 0 or 1 of the lock unit, gain 1 calculate token. This will be fantastic, I think, as a gunner on Jango Fett with the Slave 1 title. I think that if you go for that play style where you want to go one-on-one against a particular ship, and especially towards the end game when there's nobody else in range, this is going to be a fantastic card to have to gain double mods, basically. I can easily see this being a 5 to 6 point card. Because of it's the ceiling for it. So yeah.
Awesome. Twitchy said it was him. So he's
Nice.
taking all the credit for it. So there you go. Okay. Nice. So you talked about Separatists a little bit, but what about Republic? I mean, do you think this goes well with like with a lat? Or can this go? I mean, technically this could go in an arc too, right? Because arcs have gunners.
So the one pilot in mind that I have in mind for the Republic is Jag on the Arc 170 that allows him to acquire a lock after an enemy on his flank like fires a shot or takes a shot. He can easily take this, especially if it's like that initial engagement. This will help him get that double mod for off of this card here easily, and usually you just focus up normally, so he will end up with a focus, target lock, and possibly a calculate token for that particular ship. I think that would probably be a good one. The other one is also Oddball at Initiative 5 that can acquire a lock in the bullseye. He is also a pretty good candidate for this. I think I'm trying to think if the Y-Wing version or if the Arc 170 version. I probably want to say the Arc 170 version would probably be the better one for this. But yeah, I think those are two prime candidates for this card on the Republic.
All right. I'm going to guess points-wise, this is going to be 4 points, 3 points. I can't imagine it being much more than that.
Oh, I meant to ask you for 0. The other pilot that we just saw for the Mando fighter. How many points do you think he would be?
I guess it depends on where the base comes in. I'm guessing it's 67 to 75.
I would actually put him a little bit lower, because assuming that you're not putting any upgrades on him, I would actually probably put him in the low 60s. I would say probably 62 to 64 range.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I just think with an i5, you got to be really careful. You make an i5 too cheap. I mean,
Well, I mean,
it's still an i5.
if you look at its whole value, and the shield value, it is a 7.2. The only other ship that's close to that would probably be the G1A fighter, or even the Kimogila. And if you take a look at, I mean, yes, he's an Initiative 5, but if you compare their stat lines compared to what this ship can do, they're roughly about the same, but he doesn't get the benefit of a focus initially. He just gets to calculate. Sure, you can add on upgrades that make it better, but if it's going to be, that's kind of a hard sell, I think. So I think that it has to be cheap enough where you consider flying him over other Initiative 5, like Initiative 5 ships that are available to Scum, to make him more tantalizing for you to choose.
Fair enough. All right. So let's move on to the next upgrade. Obi-Wan Kenobi. And we get the image, which is a little weird. I don't understand why they wanted to make Satine look like that, but they did. So I think it's a silly image. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like her look there, but whatever.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see an Kenobi crew. I'm sad it's only in Republic and not in Separatist. I personally think this should be a Separatist card as well. That's just my opinion. After a friendly ship at range 0 to 2 spends a focus or evade token, you may spend 1 force. If you do, that ship gains 1 focus token. I don't care what anyone says on a lat. This is going to be money if you're running other force users. If you're not running other force users, I don't know. Like, the problem is, if you don't run force users, this card is not worth as much. It's still a force point, so it's worth at minimum 8 points. But if you're running, I am stealing your crew. Hell yeah. CIS for the win, baby. But think of it this way, though, right? If I am running this with a force user, this is worth more. It's just, like, hands down, this is just an insanely good card for another force user, right? Like, an Obi-Wan is really good, but now you could put this on, like, a tankier ship. You could put this on another ship, and you could put this on an arc. Not saying I would. It probably fits better in a lat, but you could put this on an arc, and now you have to burn that arc down. If you do not burn that arc down, Obi-Wan's just giving everybody fucking focuses, you know?
So here's my broken combo. This is how I've already broken this card. So it is crew, right? Which means that this can go onto R2D2, right? R2D2 can also be supported by Yoda and the Eta 2, because his ability reads, while another friendly ship at range 0 to 3 spends 1 or more force, you can spend a force to have that ship recover a force. So you can essentially generate 2 to 3 forces a turn to change them into focus tokens for your ships in your fleet. So I can easily see this going together with Yoda, and the Eta 2, and then this on the crew of R2D2, and then just run this with a bunch of ships that want focus tokens to spend, either generic like 7Bs, or even other arcs, or even like a swarm or mini swarm of V-Wings to go along with this easily.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping this is a 14-point card.
Better or worse than Fifth Brother crew?
I guess I don't know what Fifth Brother crew does because I've never ran it.
It was spoiled for the Mando pack. Or sorry, not Mando. I meant Savatra Press. Sorry, Savatra Press.
I think this is better in the long run, personally.
Okay.
I do think this is a little bit better. Yes.
Yeah, I think that this is 14 points might be a bit much. I would put this conservatively at 12 points, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's only because I hate Obi-Wan's fucking ability to give
Just
focus tokens back to people.
just put
3/4 ship. Merry
put it.
Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Oh, I thought you just hate it because of the art. I was going to say just put some tape on it. You'll be fine. So yeah.
Yeah, that too. I'll put some tape on it. All right. So I think this is solid. I'm happy we're getting an Obi crew. So
Yeah. So the next card that we have here is a Rebel Crew card. This one is Ursa Wren. Her ability reads, you may maintain up to 2 locks. Each lock must be on a different object. After friendly ship at range 0 to 3 is locked, you may acquire a lock on an enemy ship. This automatically, to me, gets stapled onto Shower Bay on the Arc 170 because she wants 2 target locks to help her with her ability, and just keep on acquiring locks throughout the game and just take focuses all day. Easy.
yeah, I think this is not needed in Rebel. So I hope this is 50 points. Fuck Rebel. God, I hate Rebels so much.
Rebels aren't too bad, man.
I disagree. I am excited that my CIS swarm list killed the Rebel list though. So I okay, in all seriousness though, I think this is a really good card too. The problem in Rebel is you're competing with so many other crew cards, right? So this has to be aggressively priced if it's ever going to see play. I don't know. I'm guessing this is 7 to 8 points. That's my guess.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that it has to be about 7, 8 points, or at least at the same cost of Magma Yarrow Crew, which allows you to acquire lock after you defend, because you are getting that free mod every time. The interaction, the way it's worded though, is a little weird on the second part because it says after a friendly ship at range 0 to 3 is locked, you may acquire a lock on an enemy ship. So you could technically lock your own friendly and get a lock on an enemy ship. At least that's how I'm reading it. I'm sure though that there'll probably be a FAQ on that. So
why would you want to lock your own ship though?
To get a free lock, because the enemy ship could be out of range, possibly.
I'm guessing no is going to allow you to get a lock on the other ship. That's not on the enemy ship, not on you.
Fair, yeah. So the next card that will go after here is another crew card here for the Republic. This one here is Satine. Her ability reads, at the start of the engagement phase, you may spend 2 charges. If you do, each friendly ship may choose to gain 1 deplete token and 1 focus token, or gain 1 disarm token and 1 evade token. Kind of a useful ability. I can see this working out on the turns where you need to disengage. This can pair very well with ships that can do, with like the Lat, for instance, that wants to do like 7 Fleet Gunner and just gain depletes all the time, and then just pass out like either deplete tokens or disarm tokens to get an evade token whenever you're trying to regain your charge and keep your Lat alive. I think it's a really nice card to go with that kind of strategy. Overall, getting to the deplete token and a focus token, if you could get this at a lower initiative and then the rest of your ships can do blue maneuvers to get rid of that deplete token, that could be really good. And it's only a 2 charge ability, so I think it's balanced, honestly, for that.
Yeah, I actually like this one. And I would wager this is a 5-point card.
Yeah, I would say this would be about a 5-point card. Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. I think this is good for Republic to some extent. It can makes up your okay. Selfishly, I shouldn't reveal the list because it's a list we're considering running for Adepticon. But there is a Warthog 6-ship swarm list that we have that this would fit very nicely into.
Nice.
Because you run all the other 5 ships in a snaggletooth formations, per se, right? So that way you get more
Bullseye.
more ability. Bullseyes, and you don't need the bullseyes as much as you just need to get the arcs out there, and then
Okay.
you just start destroying things. This works very well with that list because there's a
Nice.
lot of times you're not going to have an arc with 1 or 2 ships. So taking that disarm token and evade token, who cares? It
Nice.
helps.
Oh yeah.
So, all right. The next one is Corky Kaiser. I don't know who Corky is, I guess. I didn't pay attention enough.
It's Satine's son. That's who he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
After a friendly ship in your front 180, basically in the front of you, at range 1 to 2 becomes the defender. You may transfer 1 green token to it, while a friendly ship in your front at range 1 to 2 defends. If you obstruct the attack, the defender rolls 1 additional defense die. This is for Republic only. I don't like this. I think this card is okay, I guess. I'm not really sold on this. But I guess it's weird because while you're in the front arc of the other ships, they roll in. I mean, no, this card's really good. Never mind, because you're rolling an additional. They're rolling an additional defense die, or you transfer a token.
Yeah, exactly. So part of me that wonders the effectiveness of this is if number one, if Tactical Scrambler is going to be banned in standard, because range 0 attacks will be a thing. And most times, even if you do decide to take a shot, if you have a shot that's not at range 0, you'll probably want to take that shot just so you can get your mods onto that ship when you're doing those shots. So this, if you use the ship that has this card equipped as a blocker, rolling that additional defense die will help their defense. Or you can even consider using this in addition to Tactical Scrambler, either on the Arc 170 that has both the crew and the mod slot, or the LAT that also has the crew and the mod slot. This definitely helps out a lot. And if you can have a way to generate green tokens with you, specifically with like Satine, where you could take a Disarm token in addition to an evade token and transfer that evade token to another ship in your front arc. This could potentially be a pretty nice combo to make your ships last a lot longer. Beyond that, other than the LAT and the Arc 170, doesn't have as much use because the majority of the shots has to be in their front forward arc. So you do have, I would say, limited use for this particular card, but I could easily see this starting off at about 6 to 8 points, I would say.
Yeah, I have a feeling this is one of those weird cards. I have a feeling this is a sleeper that could be really good, but I don't know. I think it's going to be better on the Gauntlet, right? Because that's going to be the large base ship.
True.
And that Gauntlet moves pretty fast, has a lot of hull, can stay in front of your other ships. But then it forces those everybody else to basically shoot the Gauntlet, right? So I'm gonna guess this is gonna come in at, again, six-ish points, maybe 5. Probably 5 is a more fair number, unless somebody's tested this with some other like really mean setups. Then I would say no. But I guess I didn't go through all the cards because I wanted these to be a surprise for tonight, honestly. Yeah. So I didn't go through everything beforehand on the show. I purposely avoided everything until tonight. But I have a feeling this is a sleeper card that has potential, but I would probably put it at 5 or 6 points. And again, I don't know. I like it because it plays mind games, but it's I don't know. It's a hard to gauge, I guess. All right. Captain Hark for Imperial only. 2 charges, nothing reoccurring. After you fully execute a red maneuver, if you are not focused, you may spend 1 energy to gain a focus token. Seems pretty good to me for Imperial.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It's a one crew only slot. I don't know. I like this card quite a bit for Imperial. I mean, it's only gonna fit with certain types of archetypes, but I think that this card has extreme potential, I guess.
So the ships on the Empire that could take crew would be the shuttle, also the TIE Reaper, and the Decimator, which, to my knowledge, only has a hard stop. Actually, does it even have a hard stop? I don't think it does. And beyond that, I don't think there's any other crew carrier that I can think of off the top of my head that can take that. So on the Lat and on the Reaper, I could definitely see that being nice. Actually, the Decimator has a hard one that's a red, so that could potentially be nice too. And of course, this will also come with the Gauntlet, which will have that ability as well. I don't know if this really enhances any other ship for it, other than the shuttle, the Lambda shuttle, which when it starts doing those hard twos to try to start turning around, it could definitely help it out to get some offense if it's able to get those guns in place. But other than that, I don't know. I think that this is probably like a 4-point card because you can only use it twice. So,
yep, I agree. Next up is Fenra.
All right, and Fen Rao here is a crew for both Rebel and Scum. His ability reads: before a friendly ship at range 0 to 2 engages, if its revealed maneuver is a speed of 1 or higher, and there is an enemy ship in its front arc at range 1, that friendly ship may remove 1 non-lock red token. So that is a really good card to have as a support piece, to have all the ships that are ahead of you to help support help support them. So you can essentially use this to remove strain tokens or stress tokens, or deplete tokens in the front and have them take good shots. This will probably work well again as a Jan carrier, or to help Jan carrier to proc its ability twice as a support piece. And yeah, I think this is a solid crew. Now, because there's a lot of requirement for this card to get to trigger, I think that this is probably going to be relatively cheap. I see this as like a 2 or 3 point card easily.
I feel this is higher than 2 or 3 points. Personally, I think this should be a lot higher. This is an easy to proc. It kind of like Deslin saying, I especially in Scum. So you're going to be able to, okay, so think about the first pilot we talked about, right? The first pilot we talked about gets the strain token after it does an advanced maneuver. Somebody else comes along, maybe Bosk, right? And does this. I'm happy that it says a speed 1 or higher. Otherwise, we would be seeing things just sit there.
Stops. Yeah.
Yeah. But either which way, that ship can then just say, hey, look, this Bando thing is within range 2. Boom. Here you go. We're going to take one of those things off. I do agree. Can it be harder to proc? Sure. But I don't think so. I bet you there's a lot of combinations with this. Both factions have Moldy Crow, man. So I guess it does say it does say front arc. I don't know.
Yeah, remember, front arc and range 1. So if you're bumped, you can't use this. And if you're outside of the front arc, you also can't use this either. So while you can probably get it during that initial joust where everybody's coming at each other, beyond that, once you get past the initial joust, it's not going to happen, because you have to have the ship that's carrying this within range 0 to 2 of the friendly, number 1, and then on top of that, the other ship now has to make sure that they had done a speed 1 or higher and have that enemy ship in the front arc. So maybe if the other side decides to, K-turn and then re-come in again for the joust at that point, sure, it can proc again. But is your Fen Rao carrier going to be alive at that point, or is your other ship that you're planning to do that going to be alive at that point to do that? Yes, and I saw Desmond mentioning the getting rid of ion tokens if you're going over gas clouds. Sure, that can definitely be a use. Would I want to intentionally go through a gas cloud to to trigger this ability? I probably wouldn't, because I'll also probably be getting a strain as well. And but yeah, um, I mean, it's again, there's a lot of steps that you have to go to make sure that this triggers reliably for you. And at that point, is it even worth taking this card over other crew that are available in the rebellion? I don't know. I don't think so. It has to be
Yeah,
priced cheap enough to be competitive.
I I would say I say 6 points, no questions. I don't care if it's unplayed in Rebels. I hate Rebels, so good for them. One more unplayable card. They don't need it. They don't need it. All right.
March Sable. Oh yeah, good point, Deslin. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, for Scum. Yeah.
Gar Saxon is an Imperial gunner. After you perform an attack at range 1 to 2 that hits the defender, if the defender has no face-up damage cards, you may spend 1 energy or more. For each energy you spend, the defender gains 1 strain token. Seems pretty good. I don't know what I would really put it on other than a decimator, maybe. I don't.
So far, we only have one Gauntlet Imperial, one Imperial Gauntlet fighter so far that they've revealed, right? To my knowledge.
Yes. Yep.
So yeah, unless they have an Initiative 5, I don't see this. I don't see myself putting this on anybody else other than Rack to get that strain.
Yeah, I still think it's an okay. I think this is okay. Like, if this is a 3-point or 4-point card, it probably sees play. But they don't. Imperial doesn't have swarms in the same way other lists do, right? You know, like TIE swarms just are not a thing, unfortunately. So,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe the Punisher or the bomber, one of the bombers. Yeah, I could see that.
Oh,
I don't think
bomber.
I don't think this is a bad card. But because you know, and I do like it because it does recharge, so maybe it's worth more because it recharges, right? You think, JJ? Do you think that's a possibility? Because technically, because it can regain its charges, is worth a little bit more.
So the caveat for this to trigger repeatedly is that the defender has to have no face-up damage cards. If you're running out of bomber, you're probably running some type of ordnance or torpedo, which can trigger the face-up damage to happen. Because it does have that recurring charge, I do think that this is going to be about 6 to 8 points. I think.
Yeah.
Because so think you can use it multiple times.
Yeah. With ions, it works, right? So the next question I have, right, because of how this reads, this is like plasma torpedoes, right? Plasma torpedoes reads the same way. If they don't have this, then that, right? So this means if you hit, so let's say you shoot an interceptor that has 3 hull, and they have no damage, and you roll 2 attack dice and you get 1 hit through. Technically, this would trigger before that hit, correct?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but the strain will come into effect though after, like on the next attack.
Yes, so you're absolutely right. But again, if you're focus firing on something or double tap firing on something, then it would be beneficial.
That's true. Yes.
That's all I'm saying. Like, I agree with you. Like, it's still, I still think 7 points is too high. I really even think 6 is almost too high, but it does have reoccurring, so you just can't allow those cards to be super cheap, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Something that gives a status effect like that definitely does have to be tempered so that way it's not abused. But Destin does bring up a good point with Ion Torpedo. You give a torpedo and a strain. That's pretty solid. So the next one that we have here is another gunner. This one is Gar Saxon. That's for Scum, and it's large or huge ship only. It reads, while you perform the target lock action, you can only choose objects in your front or rear arcs. While you perform a primary attack at the defenders in your front or rear arc, you may remove one orange or red token from the defender to roll one additional die to maximum of 4. I would staple this onto Assad's Ventress all day, every day, or even the other pilot for the Lancer. Her name escapes me. Ketsu. Yes, this is great. Ketsu, you give that tractor token in the beginning, move them wherever you want to if you need to, or just keep them there. Roll. You can remove that tractor token. Roll the additional dice. If it hits, you track them again with the title, and they stay tractored. It's nice. It's great.
Yeah, I like this too. A lot actually. I'm actually kind of concerned by this card, but the best part is they're adding this to Epic too. So this card pack allows us to have an Epic if we're an Epic too, right? So
yeah, exactly.
I don't play Epic Scum though, so I'm not as excited. If this was like,
oh, I got an Epic list for you for Scum as Morrigan with droids. Oh my god, he is
all right,
nuts. Yeah, I have to show you that one day.
all right, we will do that. We'll go through that. That would be cool. Yeah, I don't know. I like this. I think the problem is this is designed for the Gauntlet fighter. I mean, what other large ship do you have that has a front and back? I mean, you have a Saj, right? But that means she can't shoot out her side anymore.
Yeah, exactly. You can also do this with the only other large ship that I would consider putting this on is perhaps only like Dengar with Scum Crew. But that's about it. But even then, you're not getting it's not as effective because you have to remove an orange or red token from the defender to trigger this ability. I don't know. It depends. If you really want like a really, really big attack. So,
all right.
Thoughts on points for that one? I'm thinking that's like 9 or 10 because it's strong.
Yep. I was gonna say it's gonna be an 8 or 9 point. But that's my theory is 8 or 9. I think the first part where you can only take the target locks on ships in your arc is your front, like that arc. That hurts it, but everything else about that just makes that way too powerful to have any cheaper than 8 points. You just, dude, I can't have a Saj rolling 6 dice. I just, or 5 dice. You just can't.
Imagine that with Bosk rolling 4 to 5 dice at range 1. My gosh, that's nuts.
Ugh.
And then get a crit and split it.
Yep. No, stop. Okay, I'm gonna go back. I'm agreeing with you. This is 10 points. There you go. You've ended it. It's minimum 10 points. We're done. It's so much better than Greedo.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yep. 10 points. All right. Next one is Gar Saxon for the Imperial. It's a crew upgrade. While a friendly unit, which I don't understand why it says unit, other than I guarantee you it means the Super Commandos, which I don't know why the hell we're talking about that. At range 1 to 3 with an initiative of 4 or lower performs an attack against a defender you have locked. The attacker may change one eyeball result to a crit. Or a hit. Crit. I don't know. I think this, because it says friendly unit, it's just a niche card.
Yeah.
And I think this will see little play. But because of what it can do, I don't know. I don't like this. I don't think this is any good. Sorry. I just because you have to have now 2 carriers that can have crew. So you're gonna have 2 ships that can carry crew. And if Supermandos or whatever the hell they're gonna call them in Imperial is gonna be 2 crew slots, which we don't know, but if it is, now you gotta have a whole nother ship. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like this one. And it has to be an initiative 4 or lower, right? I don't know. So I don't like it. And you have to have them locked. This has so many
Yes.
stupid caveats to it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's something that I didn't care for. Like the word salad on this, because you have to have a lock that breaks this card for me for that. Now, the other part of it is we still don't know the term unit, if it does apply only to just those super commandos or if they'll make it include both ships and those commandos. So that way you can have like a passive mod ability for all your other ships. Then that makes this a little bit better. But yeah, if unless they have an asymmetric build with the pilots, meaning that certain pilots will have 3 crew slots versus just 2. The only way you're going to have this card on the field is probably like, what does a decimator have 3 crew? I'm going to see.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so yeah, putting this on a decimator is going to be the only way to run this card, basically. So
I don't like it. I don't know. Like, this is like, unfortunately, this has to be a little bit higher cost because of what it can do, but it's gonna be so hard to trigger the damn thing. Like, if it's anything over 3 or 4 points, you'll never see it ran.
mhm.
I don't know, unless super commandos are amazing, then maybe.
Yeah, maybe. That's a big maybe. Yeah. So
All
the next card that we have here is a crew, Tristan Wren. This one is Sabine's sister. This is for Rebel or Squad, including Gar Saxon. So you can actually run this on Empire as well. This one reads, while a friendly unit performs at range 03 performs a missile attack, or at least that icon attack, you may spend 1 charge. If you do, the attacker may change 1 hit result to a critical result. So the attacks that have that particular symbol, I'm thinking some of the cannons. Actually, no, none of the cannons.
Foresight,
Foresight,
snapshot.
but Foresight you can't, or Foresight and Snapshot you can modify those dice though. It specifically says you cannot. So
That's even worse.
yeah, it's even worse. Exactly. So this is like really, really limited on like the different attacks that you can use this for.
All right.
Yeah.
So can we stop for a second? Because this says friendly unit again,
Yeah.
right? And then it says range 0 to 3 performs a missile attack. Does that mean our super commandos can shoot missiles now? What the fuck, man?
No. So if you're looking at the missile upgrade, it has like the diagonal missile, and then this one here, it refers to the no range bonus type of attack, like the ones that's on Snapshot or Foresight, for instance. So if I'm not mistaken, if going back to the Super Commando card that they revealed a while back, they when they attack, they do not get that range bonus. So they have that icon on there. So I think that's what that is in reference to. So, yeah. But yeah, yet another crew that unless you're running with 3 crew, it's not gonna like do anything. So
yeah, I this is a 3-point card, 2 to 3 points. That's it. I like it. I don't actually. I like the idea of this. This is kind of like a Greedo-esque, card. That's what this is. And getting a Greedo-esque card outside of Scum is pretty cool. But I don't know. I'm done with it. I don't like it that much.
Yeah.
All right. So the next thing that this is weird. There's a new bomb coming, and just so y'all know, new bomb called the Blazer Bomb, which looks like it is a seismic charge that then has a secondary explosion path.
So it is a seismic charge that had intercourse with a proximity mine and then exploded.
it was premature.
It was premature.
In its one. I don't know. So let's read it. At the end of activation, this device detonates. When the device detonates, each ship and remote at range 0 to 1 rolls 1 attack die. Each ship or remote suffers 1 damage for each hit or crit result. After this device detonates, place a blaze by aligning it to the blaze's guides to the device's tab. Like that.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, so hold on. We're gonna
And then it gets a fuse marker on top of that. It's a lot to
yeah,
unpack. Yeah.
like so. Essentially, this is a dual bomb to some extent, right?
Yeah, it's a 2-stage bomb. Yes.
Okay. So, do you know any history on the Blazer bomb? I've never heard of this. So,
I think they actually put this once on like one of the episodes from Clone Wars in some of the later
okay,
seasons. I it was something that was just quick. But I have to go back to like actually see what exactly it's for. But basically, yes, it's a delayed bomb that acts like a kind of like a proton bomb, but you only are dealt a damage, right? A regular
yep,
damage on the hit or a crit result. Then after that, then it adds on that giant blaze that comes out of it, which is this. It looks like the size of a proximity mine, and it gets a fuse marker added on top of that, and then it acts like the chaff cloud, where if you overlap it, then you get like whatever result happens from it, and stays there until it's gone.
okay. I like it. I think this is really cool. I like the design space. I'm very scared to some extent of what this means for putting this on a fire spray. I mean, just oh my god, this is like giving them. You
For,
just oh my
Forget the
god.
fire spray. Put this on Captain Nim. Put this on
Oh,
Nim and have Nim just hold
oh,
that fuse marker forever. Now, I believe you can actually also add on. Actually, no, it wouldn't work on that way. I was thinking the delayed fuses, but that would only work on the first part of the bomb. But yeah, I would love to have this with Captain Dim because this stays onto the board at like an obstacle, and yeah, it'll be great. So yeah.
yeah. I don't know. Like, yeah, this looks really good. And basically, you're adding that seventh obstacle on the board for a couple turns, unless you're
Mhm.
Nim. But so I thought we had more to this. I guess maybe we'll see if they're
We do, we
later
do.
down.
This is just part of the next part here is just some of the new obstacles that's coming into the pack as well. That's coming up further down. So we do have new rocks and debris that we have it. I love the artwork that's on it because you can see like the destroyed ships and stuff and the destroyed cockpits. These are huge. These look like they're very, very huge obstacles. I'm automatically going to incorporate this as part of my list because I love to shoot through obstacles. I mean,
Do you like
Blackout.
to land on them? I
No,
like to land on them.
I like to trick shot with Han, Scum Han, or yeah, anybody that benefits from being close to obstacles is gonna love these new obstacles because I mean they're huge, they're big.
Oh yeah. Can I land a droid on one? Oh, I can land
Yeah, you
two
can land.
easily.
Yeah, you
They
can
don't have to
easily
bump
land too.
anymore.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Especially this one right down here on the bottom
Oh
left,
yeah.
right next to the
Mhm.
Sabine dark saber art.
Yeah.
Which all right, we're gonna talk about that in a minute. But I mean, anyway, this is exciting to me. I like this. I like that we're getting new obstacles. I think that's fun. Notice the single Thing Fighter dial because you
Yeah.
know what that means, right?
Hmm.
You
I'm
know
sure
that
there's more
means
though.
if Rebels wants to run 4 Fang Fighters, they're buying 4 of these packs. It looks like.
Well, not necessarily. We could have only just seen just this particular insert, and they could have been in all the other inserts that come with all the extra like tokens on them for like whatever things.
Okay,
So
Twitchy
yeah.
just confirmed that there's 5 in there. So
Okay, good. Yeah,
we
that's what I
just
thought.
didn't get the. You didn't give us the pictures, Twitchy. You didn't give
No,
us the pictures.
I think he did it. I just didn't put it in the doc.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah.
Damn it,
That's on
JJ.
me. That's
I
on
was
me.
getting my hopes up saying, you know what? Let's make a Rebel feel the pain. Hey, you want to run more Thing Fighters? You get fucking 4 of these packs, baby. Like let's feel like they're little Discord or
Yeah,
they're not Discord, like little droids. Anyway, I'm excited. I'm very excited by these obstacles. Though I agree with you. I like it. I'm happy we keep getting new obstacles. Um, yeah.
yeah, definitely. And I'm actually just loading in those photos in now. But yeah, they're definitely really nice.
All right. You know, you every time you load. All right,
There you go.
I'm just gonna wait and let you load them. Go ahead and load them.
There you go. Just look at the size of those things.
Yeah. Nope. I like them. I like it. I like it a lot. I think that this is a huge benefit. Where'd you put the other ones?
It's coming.
You're just slow.
Yes.
I do like it though because, and then you moved them.
Sorry. There you go.
Yeah,
That's
those would be the biggest obstacles. See, and what's exciting is for people like me who play CIS, hey, great. I hope we don't have the bumping rules because I want to keep playing CIS with these new obstacles.
Don't worry. All you have to do is just fly better, man. You're fine. And then lastly, the last card that we have here, this is a command card here that this is going to be for Epic only. This is for Rebel. It is Sabine Wren, and it says set up before placing forces, assign Trials of the Darksaber condition to yourself. While you perform a coordinate action, you may coordinate one additional friendly ship, and it adds a red coordinate action to it. And then the condition card here for Trials of the Darksaber, it says while you perform an attack at attack range 0-2, you may spend one critical result. If you do, if the defending ship player has scored more objective tokens than you, they lose one scored objective marker and place that on this card. After you defend, if you're destroyed by an enemy ship at attack range 0-2, assign Trials of the Darksaber condition to the attacker. All the objective markers remain on this card. At the end of the game, this ship scores all objectives on this card here. So this is a nice way to steal those objective markers from your enemies when you're playing those particular scenarios in Epic Play, and it makes your ship a big target to make sure that you keep all those objective markers till the end of the game. So yeah.
All right. So I have 3 thoughts on this. 1, I'm sad that this is Rebel only, because I don't own any Rebel Epic ships at all. I'm very sad by that. 2, this is amazing. This is hands down, in my opinion, one of the best condition cards that they've ever had. And what I hope is AMG figures out how to get this into play for standard, period. And in other factions, and not just Rebel. This should be a non-faction specific card. I think this should be 100% a scenario, and I love this. And I say this because I have played some Epic, and I really like Epic a lot, actually. So, I don't like the setup for Epic in any way, shape, or form. I don't ever spend any time theory crafting in Epic, but I love Epic. And so if you want to come to Michigan and there's no tournaments going on, you're like, hey, I'm up in Grand Rapids. Can we do an Epic event, or hang out and play Epic? Boom. Gun. 100%. Love it. I play Epic at least once every couple of months. I try to, if people are around. So, yeah, I love Epic. I hope that this Trials of the Darksaber is something that can come from other ones, because I don't want to have to just play against somebody playing Rebels, and I don't own a Rebel Epic ship right now to play it on, unfortunately. But I love this. This idea here is great. Seriously.
Yeah, I think that as they expand more on standard play with more objectives and stuff like that, if they come with an objectives pack for standard play that gives more scenarios other than the ones that they were talking about during the stream, I could definitely see them adding commander type cards that you can add on to your list for any particular type of thing, or even just standard crew cards that can do that, and have similar type of effects, right, where you can steal objective points from other players for that particular type of scenario. I could definitely see that coming down the line for
oh man, think of it this way too. Oh my god, this would be so amazing. Think of it this way, where you could have an upgrade card that could go in any faction that would allow you to have faction specific commander cards. Oh my god. You know what CIS gets immediately? Massage Ventress.
Yeah, right. Hell no, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yum. Give me that. I'll eat that shit up right there. Oof. Well, that was a lot. That was a lot. I hope they just spoil the rest and then they give us some context. That would be great. Next week or the week after, they have a rules book, so I didn't have a chance to read through it. We will read through that and see if there's anything we're missing, any new rules or things like that. And who knows, everything might change a little bit, because the rumor is that next week they're going to drop, the points changes and the new rules. So I have no idea. So depending on when they drop that will depend on, what we cover. But I would be excited. Maybe JJ and I will do a segment where we look at epic cards that could be usable in standard for scenario. Oh my God, we should do that and then send it to them and be like, if you guys haven't thought about this, here you go. Listen to this shit, because there's just so many good cards in epic. You just have to be careful, because Scum would just be so overpowered. Like, seriously. If you could have some of those epic cards in Scum, oh my God.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Ugh. All right. So we have one more segment I wanted to do tonight, a newer segment called What If? And we're going to call it the Design Space version. And I don't have a cool graphic or anything to give you, because I didn't feel like making one today. I played Mario Party with my kids instead. So
the new one or the old one?
The new Superstar one for the Switch.
I got to challenge you online, bro. I got to challenge you online. I got to do that.
All right. Well, you want to play some Mario Party? I'll play Mario Party online with you. That's fine with me.
We'll do it.
So what I wanted to do is say, okay, hey, what if we had the ability to either design our own cards, which I think would be beneficial if they could allow people to make suggestions. But what if we had something where we could have something different? So what I wanted to do is talk about configs, right? Because I think, we had that discussion about gauntlets and did they get a config? Do they not get a config? Blah, 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 blah. Well, how many other ships could have different configurations that would just change the design of that ship, which would make it better or worse? And so what I wanted to do is say, hey, what if we had a configuration card? What would it be to you? What would you want? What would you want to see? How would you want to do it? And I'll go first, just because I'll kind of lead off with the example. And if people like this, we'll do this with pilots. We'll do this with cannons. Like, I really want to get into the cannons, because I think cannons are a highly unexplored topic in X-Wing that could be more beneficial. And I think configs could help benefit that, right? Like, you could create configs. And so, like, we're going to talk about ships that don't have configuration slots. For example, the Fire Spray, right? That's my first pick for a config slot. And since they haven't made a decision on how they want to curb Boba's craziness, what I wanted to say is that if we had a configuration, what would it look like? So I'm going to say Fire Sprays get a configuration. This configuration will have a turret replace their forward-backward arc. And now you're probably telling me nobody would ever take it. Who would ever do that? Nobody wants to limit a Fire Spray. But the idea would be is you would have a reduced cost to that pilot based on initiative. So, for example, if I have a 1 to 2 pilot, it would be, we could reduce the cost of that pilot by 11 points. So now we're talking about negative points here, which I know a lot of people don't like. I do. I think it's great that you can do those type of things. And then let's say if it's a 3 to 4 initiative, it's an 8 points, and 5 to 6, it's only 5 points. So now, Bob, go ahead.
Just a question on it, right? So yeah. When you're adding the turret, is it like a single turret or is it more like a bow tie turret?
Single turret.
Okay.
Because it's a medium base. So okay. For this specific Fire Spray in both Separatists and Scum, it is a single turret. So what it does is it removes the double area, right? That a Fire Spray gets. and why fire sprays are really like S tier type material. Like most pilots are A or S tier. Like the fire spray chassis itself is just such a good chassis, and it's probably a poor design space for a medium base ship. But that's a different conversation, right? So the idea would be is this would be something that you could create that would replace that. That way, they would not allow or not have to have them.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a fair configuration, especially if you could limit it to just going to like a forward arc or a rear arc, just like the ISS. I think that would actually be thematic because you can actually see the turrets or the actual like guns that are shooting from the fire spray actually turned backwards or forwards. I would see this being a lot more thematic, and this would definitely reduce the cost of the fire sprays, or it should reduce the cost of the fire sprays because they don't have that double arc. So yeah, definitely.
And Twitchy makes a good point. You could say in standard play, this is a requirement.
Oh yeah,
I actually don't have a problem with that, honestly. And the other option or the other thing, so like this configuration would be 0 cost. It would have to be standardized, 100%. I would not want you to be able to take one fire spray with it, one fire spray without it. So it's standardized. Yeah. But in that standardization, if you think about it, if you're running an I2, they're what, 62 points in... It's 62 points, I think, in Scum is the I1 or 2, whatever that stupid bounty hunter is. And so that still puts them over 50. So you can't run them too... So you just can't have a bunch of them. That would be overpowered. Yeah. But it would be more incentive to allow for mixed squads, right? The other thing you could do is you could put a linked action on there, right? A rotate red action. So you could say it's a rotate to red focus. I would not do what the SFs have and have 2 white actions at all. That's ridiculous on the fire spray.
Like Dengar, right? Where you can do the barrels or rotate, red rotate and stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I'm okay with, and I'm okay with the rotation only being forward back. I'm okay with the rotation specifically being a linked action, and I'm okay with the cost reduction to the pilot. But I think if you to get anybody to play it, you have to have a cost reduction, and maybe 11 points is too much for an I1 or 2. But that was kind of that's where I kind of started. Was there's not very many pilots. 1 to 2 seem beneficial to reduce more. But I wouldn't want to give Boba a 10-point reduction. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a fair configuration. I think that would make the chassis feel a lot better, and a lot less oppressive than what it is currently, and make the pilots a lot more accessible in more builds. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and look, even Boba gets a 5-point reduction. Yes, he has to rotate to shoot, but he's still getting his rerolls at range 0 to 1, right? That's not changing. It doesn't say in arc, you know. So you could still run Boba that way. Shoot forward, shoot, move forward, rotate your arc, get your focus. Next turn, do blue maneuver and call it a day. So, I don't know. That was my idea. That was my first cast. JJ, your turn.
Sure. So the one that I'm looking at here is the Lambda. I was thinking about this. This conversation came up on Gold Squadron's cast yesterday when I played on stream. So we're talking about like what they would do to kind of bring back some of the ships that haven't been re-released yet, and what they can offer or incentivize in order to have players that already has the ship to buy that pack again. So the one I was looking at first is the Upsilon for the First Order, given a pivot wings configuration. Now I made it similar to what like the U-Wing has or what like the Gauntlet has here, but I gave it a little bit of a different like flavor to it. So specifically for the close portion, After you perform a full stop maneuver, you gain a deplete token, and you are able to then rotate your ship 90 degrees or 180 degrees. So in order for you to rotate this limits or reduces the attack power of the Upsilon, reducing it to a 3-die gun, and you're also still taking that stress, so you can take those additional actions for it. Now, the reason why I chose a deplete token rather than reduce your cannons by 1 is that there's a possibility that you may not end up with a shot even if you do rotate your arc for your ship. And if you decide that you want to do a hard turn the next turn and not clear your stress, you still retain that deplete token on to the next turn, even after you open up your wings to proceed forward and move forward. So I think that's a more balanced approach to it. I was kind of against like designing this to reduce the agility like the U-wing does, mainly because it is already a 1 agility ship, and reducing it down to 0, it doesn't have as much health as like a decimator or like the VCX that has a lot of health. And I felt that that was too much of a handicap. I think reducing its power makes it better and a lot more balanced to where it could be a 0 to 2 point cost type card, and it'll allow the Upsilon to be a little more flexible. That being said, you can totally ignore it and just do hard 2s around the board to come around, but that takes a lot of time, and it also makes that ship not able to keep into the fight for a longer time.
Fair enough. I like it, actually. All right, the next config that I would design, and this, here you go, here's a weird one, giving the TIE SF a configuration. Now, the reason I want to give it a configuration slot, this would take up a text slot as well as a config slot, right? So you're going to give this TIE SF will use that text slot and the config slot that you give it. So you can't just put it on without taking up that text slot. But what it would do is give you a cannon slot and allow you to treat the cannon the same way you have with your turret. I would not make this a free upgrade. I think this should be a two cost upgrade. And I'm hesitant to say that it should be standardized, personally. But okay. I don't know. So the idea is because, and the reason I say this is because thematically, technically, TIE SFs could take cannons, right? Like thematically, that chassis, I believe, is built to have cannons on it. I can't remember what the cannon they've used on it, but from what I remember from some of the lore, that they were specifically designed to have cannons and missiles. Is that?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think adding the cannon slot is something that the First Order needs, because right now the only cannon carriers are the Upsilon shuttle, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the only ship that can carry a cannon. So having the TIE SF get that cannon slot onto it, especially if they're able to get like more future cannons that can like do different types of abilities, that definitely opens up the chassis to be a lot more versatile, and get a lot of different options there for secondary weapons. So yeah, I would actually be okay to change it to a free configuration. You're just replacing your missile slot for a cannon slot, and most of the cannons are about the same cost as missiles anyways. So I would actually be okay with this being a free.
All right, so I can see that if you replace your missiles with cannons.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess because my bigger thing is adding the cannons so you could have the cannons and the missiles, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But
yeah.
really, it would probably be pointless to have cannons and missiles. How many ships take cannons and missiles all the time?
Yeah,
you just don't use them. You're right. So you're right. It's probably better. It just replaces it, make it free, and go from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Chain tank gunboats. All right, Deslin.
Yeah, right.
That's the only time.
So going on the same thought here for configurations, I also went over to the Lambda as well, giving it pivot wings. The Lambda has a notoriously bad dial whenever it wants to turn around. Yes, it does have a rear arc where it can shoot with a 2-die gun out the back. However, beyond that, it is really tough for the Lambda to stay in the fight and do the hard turns because they're reds, and still continue to be an effective either coordinator or even a ship that can have time on target on enemies to even be effective. So for this one, I went a little bit different here. So the pivot wings configurations would reduce the difficulty of the hard turn maneuver for the ship. And I was specific, I would probably make it specific to the hard 2 to make it white. And then when it's closed, after you perform a full stop maneuver, you would gain a strain token to rotate the ship 90 or 180 degrees. Excuse me. Now, the reason I wanted to go the strain token route with this particular one is that, yes, it would make it a 0 agility ship if it took a strain token, but I wanted to limit it to just 1 turn because it only does have 10 hull or 10 health total. So it doesn't have the ability to take repeated shots. And unless you find a way to like advance sensors yourself into getting a reinforced token to help you out with that additional all those damage that's coming into your ship, you're making your Lambda way too costly for what it does, and B, it's gonna die really quickly regardless. So I think that this is a good way to make the Lambda still more relevant for Empire lists that would prefer to take the Reaper instead, and make it a pretty good ship to fly.
All right. So the next config that I came up with was a TIE BA config. Now, traditionally, the TIE BA has those special SFS lasers on them, essentially, and the way they talk about the way those lasers are enhanced is basically they're meant to penetrate shields, right? So the idea is that this config again, and I would argue that this config should take up the tech slot as well, because you don't want too many things. You don't want to be able to use advanced optics and
Oh yeah.
and this together. But essentially this would allow the ship to attack similar to a plasma torpedo, where after this attack hits, the defender will lose 1 shield before taking any damage. Now, the other one, and I don't know if you should combine these because it might become more overpowered, but the other option is really they should change their fine-tuned thrusters and allow you to be able to take, similar to sensitive controls, to take the deplete or strain beforehand. So really, it probably should be a secondary config, because I don't know if I want to give them a config that does both, especially because they have shields. And so they're not like an interceptor that has just 3 hull. They have 2 native shields and 2 native hull before you even get into modifications.
So you're thinking this is similar to like the TIE Defender Elite that would replace like the free evade to be able to like attack with like double tap, essentially, like that kind of effect, like replace the bottom part where they can do the auto thrusters with this ability then to remove a shield before or when the attack hits, remove a shield.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. You know, and I don't know if that would just make them worse, right? Or make it better. I don't know. Like the problem I have is that, you know, so it messes with like hollow, you know, like it messes with certain ones, one of them. So then the question becomes is, do you just separate those 2 abilities and give them a config that allows them to take the depleter strain to barrel roll or boost beforehand, you know, and then make this a separate laser style configuration? I don't know. Because I think if you combine both of them, it kind of makes them pretty strong. But at the same token, it's a TIE BA. They're not played. They pop really easy. They're just not that good for their points value. So, I don't know. And if it were me, it would be 0 cost and then 2 cost, right? So the laser one is going to be a 2 cost, and the one where you just pre-position would be a 0 cost. Just the same way like with the silencer.
Yeah, I think that the laser can actually, I would actually price it at about I mean, I got to think about it because obviously I would make this like a range 2 to 3 type cannon. Um, Heck yeah, just making it like a turret actually type of a I don't know. I would have to like really think about this one, but I do like the idea of it. Definitely taking up that tech slot so that way you don't take advantage of stuff like advanced optics. Um, yeah, I have to think about this one. That's actually a really interesting premise. I like it.
Yeah, and it's just some of the idea is how do I make TIE BAs a little bit better than what they are?
Yeah,
Um, and then some of it is because technically speaking, like I said, that TIE BA was um designed to have a little bit more of a punch to it than
yeah,
an intercept. And FFG just went and said, "Well, let me give you 2 shields, give you 1 more health than an interceptor." And it's like, nah, that's stupid. That you didn't do justice to what it is. And I only say that because in Destiny and in the Star Wars card, the CCG game,
hmm
they use there that if you have that card, it hits hard, right? That's all. That's why I say that. And like I think like in X-Wing we can learn from Destiny to some of how the cards are and some of the different things for that. Like I just think there's a way that we can learn and have better ship chassis that we currently
yeah,
do,
exactly.
especially in FO.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. Yeah.
FO's Kylo. Let, oh, you're gonna take Kylo. What variation of Kylo do you want today? We got 2 of them now, so
Yeah, exactly. So the last one that I have here, this one is not a configuration. This one is actually a crew that I was thinking of because I've been watching the Book of Boba Fett, and I was thinking about an old card that we used to have in 1.0 that has not come over to 2.0 as of yet. Now, the character in question is Fennec Shand, and the card that I'm thinking about is Expertise. So in 1.0, there was a card called Expertise that said that if you were not stressed, you can convert all your focus results into hits when you're performing a primary attack. So I took that concept and I kind of translated it over to 2.0. So the way I have
yeah.
this particular card
All right.
is while you perform an attack, if you're not stressed or depleted, you may change all your focus results to hit results. After you perform the attack, you gain a deplete token and a stress token to the ship.
That's a 25-point crew.
You think?
Yes. You you I don't know. I guess it's just like a free focus token. That's what it is. But after you perform the attack, taking a deplete or and a stress, I mean, you're just gonna remove them by doing a blue maneuver.
Well, you got to think about the carriers, right? That Scum has, right, for the crew carriers, right? Now, on the smaller ships, yes, they're going to have target all day, and they can do hard twos and just get in there and keep on doing it. But because this is a crew card 1, and then number 2, you're getting the deplete and stress token, unless by some miracle that ship stays in front of you in your front arc. I mean, you can even do this like on the Falcon, obviously. But unless they stay in your front arc, you're not going to be able to chase them more reliably without removing that stress and that deplete token. And it's harder for you to really take advantage of that card at that point. Now, I am thinking that this is something that could be limited to like range 2 or range 3 to make it a little more fair. But yes, although it is strong as it gives you free, hit result conversions on offense, getting that deplete and stress token, and if you decide to be more aggressive, you're not able to clear either, which means you're not getting any actions after the fact, and you're still shooting at a reduced rate with the deplete token. I think that's a more fairer trade-off in that point when you're taking a look at the ships that are available in Scum that can take the crew. So
I don't know. I just see Eamon going, oh, range 1, 4 dice. Oh, here you go. Let's convert. I'm going to take a target lock every turn. Boom, 4 dice. Oh, re-roll, get a bunch of focuses. They're free. Take my deplete, take my stress. Oh, I'm going to do a 2 forward and do the same thing again and do the same thing again. And I'm going to drop a bomb on you and kill you.
It
Maybe
could
if
also
it's
be
charge-based, I would
charge-based,
feel
yeah.
better then, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Deslin, right on the money. Yeah, yeah. Charge base, making this charge base, yeah, definitely would help this particular crew. Yeah, but I think that's something that could be brought over from first edition as a flavor crew, and having that balance of having a really good effect with a really negative effect on the back end of that. So yeah,
I don't know. I didn't play in first edition, but I can tell you expertise sounds broken as shit.
oh yeah, it was stapled onto Ray in first edition all day. Yeah, because she could just do her sloop and then not take any stress and then just do expertise all day. She was so great, so broken, so great. That's why I ran her so much. So yeah, quick draw too. Quick draw was fantastic with it. Yeah.
Ugh. No, thank you. All right. Well, cool. Well, thank you all for joining us. I will give you a 30% prediction. We'll be back live next Sunday. If not, we will be back live on Wednesday in 2 weeks, right? Not this Wednesday, the week after, the week and a half. We'll be back in a week and a half. I just, like I said, I can't guarantee we're going to stream from LVO or not. I just don't know. I'm not bringing my whole setup. I don't know if Greg is or not. I have reached out to Greg and I'm hoping to connect with him. At least on Thursday night. Like, so I don't know, be around. I will be talking to him anyway. And if we do wait till Wednesday to stream, I might invite him to join us, that night anyway, to kind of do like an LVO recap and all that fancy jazz. With that being said, thank you all for, we will definitely be taking pictures. That will 100% happen. I will tell you I am playing on Friday, so I have no idea what the picture policy is or any of that, but
I'm sure it'll be fine.
I guess we'll see.
Just let your opponent know ahead of time. You should be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they'll care. It'd be kind of fun. Yeah, every game I take a picture of me and my opponent, picture of the table setup. It helped me remember what games, how bad I lose on all the games. Ugh, it will. Ugh. Anyway, all right. Thank you all for joining us. We will be back February 2nd. Is that what it is? February 2nd with another planning phase syndicate. Thank you all for joining us and have a good night.
See you guys.